Revolution Radio. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hey, thanks, Nighthawk. You're back with David Mackey's Shiny Side Out. This is part 2 of, that's basically the second hour of Shiny Side Out on Revolution Radio. And as Nighthawk said during the bumpers, this is the #1 listener-supported talk radio on the net. So find the website, which is revolution.radio, and push the donate button to ensure that we can continue operating this service for you, where we receive no advertising funding, and the way forward is this style. And this, I think there's a Patreon there. You can get your merchandise as well. That's another way to support the station if you don't donate directly. Becky and I have a website, shinysideout.net, also where we also have co-branded merch. Not just Shiny Side Out merch, but also Revolution Radio merch. Co-branded with Shiny Side Out. So you should like that. You can get, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and stuff like that. My wife tells me I'm already a mug. What does she know? Thanks for listening to Revolution Radio. We're halfway through show number 570.
70 and 500. I'm just still getting to terms with the number, my friend. It's
linear, number. Apparently.
No.
Yes, that's a concept. That's the concept right there.
Yeah.
And
I dispute your concept and raise you a paradigm.
Perfect. Well, then I'm going to say, who's that? And in the text that I sent you, you would say, I don't know, it must be a king. And I said, why? He hasn't got any shit all over him.
Where is it?
Old woman, man, sorry. What knight lives in that castle there? I'm 37.
I'm 37.
What?
I'm 37. I'm not old.
I can't just call you man.
You could say Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis.
You didn't bother to find out.
I said sorry about the old woman, but from behind you looked...
What I object to is that you automatically treat me like an inferior.
I am king.
Oh, king. Very nice. And how'd you get that? By exploiting the workers? By hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma, which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society?
If there's ever going to be
progress... Oh, there's lovely filth down here.
How do you do? How do you do, good lady? I'm Arthur, King of the Britons. Whose castle is that?
King of who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
We're all Britons, and I'm your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective. You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship, a self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes... There you go again, bring class into it again. That's what it's all about.
Please, good people, I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
We are an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take turns to act as sort of an executive officer for the week. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified and special bi-weekly meeting by a simple majority in the case of internal affairs, but by 2/3 majority.
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
Order? Who does he think he is?
I am your king.
I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
How do you a king then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
Strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony.
Quiet.
You can't expect a real supreme executive power because some watery tart threw a sword at you.
Shut up.
If I went around saying I was an emperor just because some moist bindle up the scimitar at me, they'd put me away.
Shut up. Will you shut up?
No, we see the violence inherent in the system.
Shut up.
Come, see the violence inherent in the system held by being repressed.
Bloody peasant.
What a giveaway. Did you hear that? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me?
Oh,
That, my
mercy.
friend, is gold. The Monty Python crew,
Yeah.
they were pooping gold. That's what they were doing.
Pooping God. You know what? £17,000 is what it cost them to produce the entire movie.
No way.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a lot of money back then. Well, but still, that's pretty
it
damn
was,
good.
but no one were willing to fund it. They said they were mad. And yet,
Well, they
it
were
has probably the best writing, which is still valid today.
Oh, it's ageless because it speaks truth. It is pure truth. What we just shared with you was a little excerpt from the
Holy
from
Grail.
Holy Grail, correct, by Monty Python, and it is pure truth. It is funny, and it is farcical and satirical. It's all of those things. It's a little mad as well, but unfortunately, it is completely true. And people laugh at it, and in the back of their mind, they realize, yeah, that's the world, but I can cry or I can laugh. what you want me to do?
Laugh. Just
So-
laugh. Yeah.
Just laugh. Just laugh. To hide the tears.
I found online, clearly because you can do anything these days, I found online the entire script from start to finish.
Nice.
The only thing they've done is they've
Nice.
taken
Genius.
away the names in front. So,
Now, I don't think that any of them, now I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of them ever sold out.
no.
But that, I mean, they, especially Terry Gilliam, he kept making movies that he wanted to make, even if it turned out complete disasters.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
he tried to make Don Quixote, that just didn't work out at all for him. But he didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
He actually didn't care. He just wanted to say what he wanted to say. He made a movie called Brazil. If you haven't seen it, you must. Which is more dystopian than 1984, in my opinion.
Mm.
And it has a few of the old Python crew.
Okay.
And if you look at Palin,
Yep.
Michael Palin became a world traveler, but
Mhm.
he would give you look, not the same as Anthony Bourdain, but in a similar way, he gave you his take on the world, not the corporate take necessarily. For him, it was just people, and he would just try to immerse himself in the people, talking to the people, and then most impressively so when he was traveling on a dhow from Saudi Arabia or Dubai, I think, into India, into I think he went to Mumbai. That was the port he disembarked. But it was days and days on a dhow with no modern instrumentation. If the Dow had sunk, that would have been it for Michael Palin. Michael Palin lost in the Arabian Sea.
Yeah.
And that was,
lucky it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, I know, right? And unfortunately, the gentleman, Graham Chapman, who played Brian in The Life of Brian, passed on. He's no longer with us. But again, I don't think. I mean, he probably stepped on the most toes playing Brian.
Yes.
I reckon they were throwing straws, and oh, Graham, sorry, mate, you're playing Brian. Because again, if you forget for a second that you're offended by the whole thing, and you actually watch it and you really take it in, it speaks truth yet again. It has aliens, Dave. It has aliens. It's great. Yeah. You know,
and what have the Romans done for us lately?
The aqueduct. Shut up, you.
All right, now besides the aqueducts, roads, health, and all, what have they done for us lately?
Oh, it's no one's fault, not even the Romans. That Larry doesn't have a womb.
Not even the Romans. That's right.
Not even the. So the thing is this, right? Dave and I have been doing this now for over 10 years, believe it or not. And we always talk about people that were before us. I mean, this go back thousands of years. I mean, we talk about Plato 2,000 years ago, and the other philosophers, other thinkers in between, and before that as well. And then more recently, of course, I mean, Monty Python crew operated like 50 years ago. That's when they operated, okay? Just so we're clear. But it doesn't seem to bring about any change.
Of course not. Why would you want change?
Change will come to us. It will come, and we will not be prepared, and it will be catastrophic. It will be, because it always is. There is no. See, people talk about, oh, we don't want a revolution. We don't want a revolution. We want an evolution. In history, I've never seen or read about an evolution of government or power transition or integration of the greater good or anything like that.
It's usually rapid, isn't it?
It's rapid and it's catastrophic and it is revolutionary, right? And it's not good because it's painful. But we are never. The key thing here is to understand that the ruling classes have never looked up and said, oh, geez, we really should change what we do. It's really not working out for most people, right? Let's just see if we can, devise some other form of government that gives more power to people and less power to us. Never. Not once. And I don't think I ever will see that or will hear about it in the if we had a time traveler coming to us from the year 5000.
Yeah.
I don't think he would tell us, oh, yes, we did that. One day everybody woke up and became sensible. We all woke up sensible. Oh, really? Oh, yes. It was quite amazing. All of a sudden we just did all the things that we should have been doing all along, you see? And it worked out okay. And once there was a war, but nobody went. So that didn't work out for that.
That's hilarious.
That was very good. And so we've just been getting along, you see. And my neighbor, he lives with his boyfriend. So they're but you know what? It's not my problem. So I just don't care. And my other neighbor, he's a Hasidic Jew. But again, I just don't care. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah. Well, that's good segue because there's a tweet in the chat room which I flicked you. Is Liz Truss confirms that authoritarian regimes are trying to create a new world order. Well, duh.
This just in. Breaking news.
What's the word on the street, Mackie?
Oh, mate, it's not good. It's not good. It's raining cats and dogs, and they're getting married too. I don't know.
So yeah, I like this as a news anchor. This just in: the New World Order. Liz Truss claims that the New World Order is being created by authoritarian regimes. Wow, sure. The rest of the planet knew, Liz. Everybody knew.
I'm shocked.
All of the conspiracy world rolled their eyes and face palmed, right?
Yes. It's like, oh, really? Yeah, welcome to the party.
Yeah. What, you didn't know? How long you been in politics? Right.
She didn't get the memo. It's all right. She didn't get
Is that why she quit?
That's what happened. I wasn't read in. What happened? Come on, guys.
What?
You gotta tell me what's going on.
Imagine in Parliament the entire room, right, of the lower house is doing that. Stop talking about it. Where you motion across your neck, like shh, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's gonna do it. She said you're gonna do it. I told her, I wanted not to. Right? Oh. So did she stop them?
Cool.
No, she quit. Right? And then they put in who? They put in the member of the WEF into Parliament. What? The billionaire's son who's done nothing, right? Yeah, put him in. I know he's accomplished in his own right. Doesn't matter.
Is he? Is he really?
Sure, I'll say that because I want to start my car, right? I don't want to. I'm not trying to form enemies here, but what I'm trying to do is make a joke to point something out, which is what she finally realized. What?
Dave,
right?
that ship has sailed, mate.
I know it did. It's gone.
There's no more ship.
Do you know what? I think the dolphins in Venice, the deer coming down from the mountains in Europe, right?
Yeah.
The cleanest air we've ever had in the history of since industrialization, right? That was the pandemic. I think I think the whole thing was a big test. I'm not saying the pandemic didn't exist, but all the lockdowns and the restricted travel is exactly what the Great Reset has in store for us. And remember on the prior hour and right near the end, Mekia, I mentioned about that Ohio train wreck. They're now establishing a online health app that traces your health in Ohio.
Really?
Yeah. So, was it planned? I mean, that much stupidity can't just roll automatically. You know what I'm saying?
We lost a plutonium capsule here in Australia, so I'm not sure.
That's right. It was as big as your little fingernail.
Yeah.
And they found it.
Oh, good for them.
They found it. How many other bottle tops do you reckon they found before they found that?
All of them?
All of them.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you remember when the ring pulls and you pull the can?
Yeah.
And then you just discarded the ring pull because it broke away from the can.
Yep.
Yeah. The first thing you do when you get a metal detector and you go, I'm going to go to this park, I'm going to look for jewelry and stuff, is you just find a wheelbarrow full of those from the 70s. That's the first thing you find.
They're worth billions now.
Yeah, that's right. When I was digging around where we built our pool, after we built the pool, all I found was these Tooheys cans, right, from my dad and his mate it's all in the soil. They just covered them over, right? That's the first thing you find. It's all the discarded junk that we didn't want, right, from that era. It's just nuts. So look, I had to point that out, Mickey, about that New World Order because it's Did you know how often it comes up in conversation where people go, "Oh, what's this Great Reset?" Or they say, "Oh, did you know we're going to get some social networking credits or social credits or having restricted access to our money coming soon?" I go, "Yeah. Where were you the last few years?" And
Are you for it or against it? I'm against it.
I'm against it. That's it. Yeah. So in little pockets all around the world, they're trialing all these things, which shows that there's an agenda occurring. But we've always known about the agenda going to be in play, but now we're actually watching it run.
There are a number of... See, I listened to Barry Smith back in the late 80s, early 90s. He was a Christian preacher from New Zealand. He's actually passed away now. And he said all of these things that actually have come to pass.
Wow.
Now, doesn't mean he was divinely inspired. I don't know, but he was certainly plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
And he spoke about that as well. He spoke about, cashless society, etc., etc. But the critical thing is this, right? Only recently, relatively recently, have we now built the technological foundation to actually live in a cashless society.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about, I remember when I was young. When I was young, I was so much older than. It's a great song, that. But we didn't have ATMs.
That's right.
There weren't any ATMs. There weren't any cell phones. There were rotary phones, if you're lucky.
And a passport to go to the bank.
Oh, yeah, exactly. My very first bank account had a passbook. Like, you had to write down how much you put in, and then
it's basically a ledger of your account. That's right.
100%. Mm-hmm. And you didn't get a card. I got a card. I think it was my first bank card. I think I may have gotten. No, I think I got it when I was 18, just before I left Germany.
Yeah, right.
But the point is, the POS machines, point of sale, that's what I mean. EFT POS means electronic fund transfer point of sale. That's what it means, right. FPOS, right? And that was a relatively new technology, which was trialed out everywhere, and then all of a sudden it worked. We could pay with our cards, and we could even get cash out in different places, here, there, and everywhere, right? And now we don't even need cash out because we just blip, we just chip in our cards.
Yeah.
Done. And in most instances, it's $100 limit, and then you have to put your PIN in. But I've been to shops where I bought for Christmas.
I bought way more than that and not have to put a PIN in. Yeah.
And no PIN. I said there's no PIN, because it's easier. Because whenever you do the verification, it eats bandwidth, right?
That's right.
So imagine during Christmas time, you get a million transactions. That you just hope for the best.
And there's people behind you folding their arms and tapping their foot.
That's right. I've been waiting for 2 minutes of my life. I can't wait to watch the Kardashians. I've missed 2. Yeah, you're not wasting life at all. Good for you. But that's where we are. You're right. You're quite right. It's actually quite disturbing.
Do you remember driving around trying to find an ATM that still had money in it on a Friday night or a Saturday?
Not so easy, is it?
It wasn't in those days. Yeah. So when you had just your handy card, with your card from the bank, with access to your savings account, then you would get paid and you would have to go to a bank to get the money out. I remember the days when the pay lady came around with an envelope with the pre-counted allotment of money, right? And handed you the satchel of money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or an envelope.
Yeah.
So that evolution, Mackie, we've gone from cash being given to us by our employer to it being electronically transferred to an account we could get out money when we needed to, and therefore I think we immediately spent less, right? Because it was now there was a third party involved. It was before it was just you and the employer, right? And then you had it in your money in your pocket. You could just go straight to the pub. And just, not me, but people could just go to the pub. And,
sure. Yeah.
Well, in the city, Mackie, almost every corner had a pub.
Oh, of course.
Right. Of course. And it all had tiles on the outside.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you want to know why that's tiled, I'll tell you one day. There's a lot of beer involved.
Everything is a lavatory.
That's right.
Can you show me the bathroom wherever you like? But now you see, we actually we have actually reached a point where we no longer have to touch cash. I mean, in fact, you can throw away your wallet and you point you coin for it.
I just carry my phone now.
No, I don't. I need pockets. I told you before, right? That's why I got a jacket even when it's hot, because I carry things that I need if I'm ever sucked into a vortex that's transdimensional or trans.
You want some kind of currency which will be invalid anyway.
I need some kind of everything. I can make fire. I can defend myself. I'm good. But having said all of that, we are now living in a world where you no longer need to carry cash. Really, you don't really have to, unless you want to buy something from a guy in the street or whatever. Then this argument only criminals use cash. That'll come soon. Oh wait, trust me.
That's true.
Which is of course complete nonsense. But in fact, it's not even cash anymore, right? I think we think of money now as credits, which is funny because money is actually debits. We should think of our money as debits because that's what it is.
That's right.
Debt. But soon, it'll be credits, and we're not that far, in my opinion, from a world currency. Now, the euro was a test case in which actually failed miserably.
I can tell you one reason why, a contributing reason for the failure, and that is because countries couldn't, print out the back door some of their currency for themselves.
Yeah, correct. There's another reason why it didn't work as well as it. Well, actually, it was never going to work well. But okay, so the euro was brought in with all other currencies that we know were part of that gone overnight, more or less. You could still. There was still a period of a few months, even maybe a few years, where you could exchange currencies. But the point is, a can of Coke, I'm just taking this as an example, in Germany would cost you 50 Pfennig, which is like 50 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same can of Coke would cost you 5 drachma in Greece, which would be an equivalent of maybe 10 cents German.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you already had a price disparity. You also had an income disparity.
That's right.
But everybody was using the same currency now, right? And I had friends, I still have friends in Germany, but they told me that prices changed significantly. So let's say, for argument's sake, this kind of Coke in Germany cost you 50 Pfennig, which is half a German mark.
Yeah.
It would now cost you €1.
Mm.
So the euro is worth more.
That's right.
But buys you less.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds crazy, but that's what happened, right? So everything went up, even though the euro was valued higher than most of the participating currencies, right? With the exception, actually, the British never joined. See, they were clever. The British never joined the euro. They always.
They were doing the hokey pokey. They had the left foot in, left foot out.
they were doing something, but it was a smart thing, and they did the right thing, obviously in hindsight as well, to not have joined the euro, but. It failed, and it's still failing because you can't put the same currency across a number of countries unless you raise the economic standard, unless you raise the niveau of the economy to a level where it doesn't have to
standardize the wages and the sale price of everything. Everything.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, it'll never be the same, but you have to get pretty close. If you can't get close, the whole experiment is doomed.
Well, the next
start. And
the next thing, Mickey, is if there was a global currency, we're not set up to do that. All the big players won't want that because they're using exploiting mechanisms. So, the cheap labor cost in one country. If it was exactly the same, it would actually be more expensive.
Yes, correct.
Right.
So exactly. So all of a sudden, offshoring doesn't make any sense anymore.
That's right.
So it's so what do you do with it? Well, it doesn't matter because see the problem is being solved from another angle, and the angle is, well, I'm not going to have people do stuff anymore anyway.
That's right.
Right. Because I no longer need labor. What do you mean? Well, I've got robots, I've got software. I don't really need that many people working anymore. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are, well, they could be anywhere really. And I don't mind paying them because there's not a lot of them. Right? Everybody else will have a living wage.
Ooh.
And that's the only way that you can introduce a global currency is
That's
by
right.
having everybody out of work and paying
Yeah.
them all the same, because everything is now the same everywhere.
And one of the big supporting features of doing this is, instead of having local sovereign currencies, there is a one world currency. Because at the moment, the trade between currencies is also an income vector.
Yeah.
And that's because the differentials and how they floated against each other, so one might be higher than the other one day, or reversed, or what have you. So if that was removed because it was a one world currency, once again, it tightens everything together into one. It's like pulling the drawstring on your exercise pants.
That's so sexy.
Not the way I was saying it in my head.
They bind the clutch.
All right, I'm not. So from now on, I'm not allowed to have not present similes. Is that right?
That's right. What? No, of course you can. We love it. Yeah, but look, we are really. See, this is an amazing thing, right? Because Dave and I have the advantage of looking at this every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Every week we look at it, look at the news, and then we've done it now over the last, 13, 14 years
more.
almost.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean specifically for the show, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But the pieces, albeit slowly, and that's really the intent here as well, I believe, are falling into place. All the pieces are falling into place. It's all happening. And I have to say, right? You can say whatever you want about the parasites, but execution of the agenda is genius. The execution is genius. Okay? It is incredible how everything is coming together. And you also have to be in awe, I believe. I really do believe that at their ability to tie in as many loose ends and as many benefits for themselves in any action they take. I'm thinking about 9/11 here, for example.
Yeah.
It is astounding how many people benefited from that one event. It is amazing. The list is massive. So many people benefited in so many different ways from that one event that you have to just I mean, if it was all planned, you got to take your hat off to that, right?
That's right.
It's like the same way I take my hat off to the guy who invented religion, afterlife insurance. Genius.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like it, mind you. You just have to acknowledge the accomplishment, I think, right? Because it is an accomplishment.
What are that?
It's all falling.
Freezing people after they've died, just in case there's some solution later.
Yeah, that's right. And look, it's all falling into place, Dave. All this whole talk about the reset, etc. Even the things, even though I believe that it won't actually happen the way they want it, in my opinion, because it is too big, and no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. It just doesn't.
That's right.
I believe they're doing whatever they can to ensure a successful outcome. But in my opinion, it won't be exactly how they plan it. Which gives me hope, because if you got any levels of uncertainty, that's still a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, for me, the value of I'm gonna say the one world currency, not just the Great Reset overall, but just with the currency itself. The benefit of having a digital currency and having everything as the same value means that trade and country trade, the dollars between everything just becomes like it's all one country, right? It is. It's one Earth. But that view would mean that if the government's paying us money, then they wouldn't be deriving taxes from the money they've typed in for us. It would be irrelevant. And I'll kind of tell you why. Because they could just type numbers into their own economy, right? Into their own spend, and spend money however they wanted. In fact, it's effectually eliminating money entirely from how they operate. as a sovereign nation, is what I mean. So you could effectively just build anything or do anything you wanted. You could make it 100% of what it should have been, because it's been held back for so long. Do you know what I mean? So with everything, with our toil, our worries, our lifestyle, our, say, call it habits, right? Of the way that we interact with people to maintain the economy is actually a draw on the economy. Like, it's draining it of money, the way that we behave to get it done. Yes, everyone seems to make money in the money go round as the economy stands either stagnant, fails, or makes money. No one cares, right? All the people that make money still make money off it. In fact, the banks make money whether it's the economy is successful or not. Doesn't matter. They still make money, right? So by being able to just simply type credits into everybody's accounts, not rather than money, like you said, credits is a good description. You've earned them through behavior, and that's why the social credits restriction to those, and maybe what people are talking about is the possibility of having an expiration date. Remember that Service New South Wales gave us credit to go to a restaurant or go visit the countryside. Mm-hmm. But it was only valid for a certain amount of time. Yep. So we had to spend it.
Yes.
That concept was golden for their future state of the way it's going to work. It's quite possible. I initially poo-pooed the idea when my friend floated it, that was going to be it. But I'm kind of warmed to the idea that that's one of those little trial pockets, Becky, in the world. Where in Oxfordshire, they've decided they're going to put that limit transportation distances in place, segmenting the town into pockets. Right? In another country, they're doing social credit. In another country, they're working out ways of being able to I don't want to say segment society, but turn society into kind of like the Brave New World. You're a level 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, right? And this predefinition might actually be a predisposition to the amount of credit that you're going to receive in a trial.
Possible, yeah.
Right? So, yeah, you can't just give everyone $1 million a week, right?
No, and look, I think again, there'll be regional variations. There'll be variations due to potentially, your family history, and in fact, maybe even special consideration if you're part or could be considered part of what was the middle class once. Who knows? Because you don't want to upset the system. There's certain things people are used to, right? And for a lot of people, the situation would improve dramatically. The life situation I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Massively. It would improve massively. But what's the greater cost here, right? What else are we giving up? And that's really the problem that we're facing. What are we willing to give up to achieve this I don't know, egalitarian kind of society? Is almost utopian in a way.
Quit living in the past, Marge. You're living in the
clearly,
past.
Right? But then you're limited by whatever stipend or whatever funds are available to you. I mean, schooling, for example.
Yeah.
Would you still receive? I mean, you probably still go to school. I mean, to be indoctrinated. But there was a really interesting book written by Robert Sheckley called The Status Civilization. If you haven't read it, do. He read it in the 60s or late 50s. Anyway, point is, Earth had become so regimented that everything was controlled. Everything, and when people was finishing their studies, like computer science engineering, whatever it was, they found that what they had learned was 100 years outdated. The machines were doing all the work. They're just there in a supervisory capacity, and that's for the people that did do the work. Right? That's for the people that did want to study, whereas a lot of people did not want to do that. And everything was mass-produced. And the way to distinguish yourself from the rest was to buy premium products which had flaws in them, so they looked like they were handmade. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So instead of having a really nice suit, now that's a suit with a variation or maybe a button is missing or whatever. The point is, everybody got the same. It was all mass produced. It was good quality, but you wanted to be different, right? So you had to do something to it. And education was taken over by the machines as well, to the point, and I don't really want to give the story away because you should read it, but where you would become your own policeman. It was the perfect panopticon, right? Status Civilization. If you haven't read it, or if you haven't read any Robert Sheckley, you must read Robert Sheckley.
You've got homework.
If you haven't read Robert Sheckley, you don't understand the 70s or the 60s.
So Meki, an interesting point here is the current educational system is, and was confessed in the last 10 years, to simply be a mechanism in which children are taught how to be the cog in the corporate wheel. That was it. That was the entire aim of high school education, was just to have reasonably educated people who could work in the corporate environment. Now, if that's not a thing, I wonder what the shape of education would be in the future. Probably just individual pursuit, right?
Possibly. A lot of people the problem, of course, is that human beings are, by and large, lazy. We're lazy, right? Now, that laziness is usually counteracted by expectations from the family, wanting to do well, etc. It's a whole bunch of neurotic things that make you try to achieve. You take that away, right? Then what's left? I mean, some people just want to achieve anyway because that's they just like to be. They're ambitious, right? But not everybody is like that. And once you've done that, you can actually see what happens when you take that sense of accomplishment away from a society. You look at any of the native populations in the world that are given free handouts from the government, be it free education or some kind of monetary unemployment benefit or whatever it is, right? It has completely destroyed their sense of self. Right? Because everything is taken care of. You don't have to do anything. And eventually, this more than anything would lead to the end of the human race. Right? There's the sense of I no longer have a purpose. I've lost my sense of purpose. What will I do? It doesn't matter what you do. That's what would happen if the AI came ever along. The AI would take away our sense of purpose because they could do whatever we can do, only better, faster, smarter, and cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you look at these, which is not an AI yet, by the way. Look at ChatGPT, just, for example. Probably the most advanced AI imitating algorithm that we have at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It spits out poetry.
Yeah, you saw what I sent you.
Yeah, I did. And
yeah.
I've seen other examples. I mean, you could ask me to write a novel for you if you want.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean,
what's the point of creating... where it went.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I'm amazed at the level that it's at. I have to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But then you ask yourself, but what's the point of it all then? Why do I pursue the arts if clearly the machine can do it? And especially if you can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
that's the danger, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't write this? I mean, you could, depending on what you do for a living, you could just have ChatGPT do your job. Right? Depending on what it is that you do for a living.
I know there was a company that already set it up to do replies to customers.
Yeah. Why not?
I know.
Right?
Well,
it is.
That is honestly what we should be doing. We should be utilizing it to be industrious. I mean, look at the output. it isn't 1 + 1 = 2. This is 1 + 1 =, it could be a 300-page output, right?
Whatever you like.
It's whatever you want it to be. Then I've been working on how I utilize the product now, and I say, I'll give it a premise and say, do you understand? And it says, yes, I understand, and then types me back a better version of what I've asked it in its understanding. Yeah. And then I add to that premise a point of view, and then I ask it to understand whether it understands, and it says yes, and it types me back once again a more accurately constructed sentence of what my premise is, and then I give it the question, and then it gives me my output. And I'm really loving that it's capable, and I think more than capable of achieving the things that I'm asking it. Yes. And surprisingly so. And to be honest with you, Meki, because you've known me for goodness knows how long now, right? And from the beginning of the internet, and I'm going to tell you, this is the most incredible thing, place, knowledge point, interactivity. It's the most incredible point. It's the tip, the pinnacle of all of that last 26 years of a simple open AI platform. Now, if it only stays here and it doesn't ever become sentient, right, in any way, shape or form, not just OpenAI, but any other platform, I think we've reached a pretty good height.
Oh, I agree. It's quite impressive what can be done, with heuristic algorithms.
All hail the AI. I've got a speech synthesis program, but at the moment I haven't got it plugged in order to be me. And I do have the ability to run text through it, so I could actually have it respond. But since if both Meki and I were both running it as us with emulators that pretended to be us, which is quite possible with the years of audio that it has to work with, then that also would be interesting to see how that banter would progress through the hour, and how it would open the station and close the show. Would be great. I just think that would be marvelous.
Well, look.
I'm just trying to hammer in the last nail, Meki. What am I doing?
No, we're not that far away. How heuristic are you? 50. I'm 50 heuristic. 2 bags full. It's a very dangerous road we're on right now, right? And the problem is, of course, that we're going to do it because we can.
Yeah.
I can build a nuclear weapon. Why? Because I can. All right. Okay, then I'm going to build an actual AI. Why? Again, because I can.
Because it'll be fantastic, right?
Yes, sure. Of course. What else would it be?
Hop in your time machine.
So we're doing all these things.
And tell me how good
it's similar to. That is true. Or are they? Your Honor. Your Honor. Is it? Your Honor. My idiosyncrasies are heuristic in nature. They're all based on Boolean algebra. What? Yes, if, then, and nor. What? Yes. It'll happen. So we will see a world filled with genetic hybrids ruled by artificial intelligence, and we'll all have a stipend, so we can all have unicorns that fart rainbows. That's what we're all hoping for, right?
See now,
we all want
rainbow
farting unicorns. Because the thing is this, we can. we will be able to do that.
Oh, my
It'd be
dreams
awesome.
have
And
come
then,
true.
Hurrah! Yay! Look at you.
My little pony.
Now I'm saying this because my daughters have. There was this advertising. Watching one of the unwrapping shows on YouTube.
Oh
And
boy.
this advertising came up for unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ice cream machine. And you lifted the unicorn's tail, and
Yeah,
rainbow colored
and it
ice cream
poops a rainbow ice
Would-
cream.
would come out of its bottom. It's pooping rainbow ice cream. That's what you need in your life. A unicorn pooping rainbow ice cream.
Do you know what? Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? That's right. I want one of those popcorn machines that you get at the cinema.
And you shall have one.
Well, I've almost bought one.
You will
But,
have nothing else. That's what you'll have that.
if I can have nothing else, it'll be that, right? No,
That's
I saw something today. I'm just trying to find it because it was really good. It was poignant. Hang on, just bear with me. I'll pull it up, and I think it's something to the effect that if you truly wanted it, you would have already had it. Does it make sense?
It does.
Because you mean, if you really want something, you'll make all the allowances to make it happen. You'll sacrifice all the things you don't really need and what you don't really want and what you don't need to do in order to do the things you need to do to acquire it. And I thought it was gold. It really was gold. It really does. I mean, when you know you've set that goal for yourself and you've achieved your goal because you wanted it so bad that was the only thing that was gonna make you happy, and you got there. Let's hope it'll make you happy.
Wanted.
I remember, Mickey, when I was a kid, I got one of those stamp albums. Remember those?
I do.
And I had one, and I got this, like it was like a clear envelope filled with probably 2,000 stamps. It was amazing, right? It was a gift. And all I could do was I set myself a goal. I said, I'm going to put this together. And I didn't sleep, and I put it together. And it was about a day and a half. My parents worried about me. And I managed to get all the stamps in a certain order of type, country, and value. Nothing to do with rarity, because I didn't understand what they're, you need a stamp almanac to understand the values of them. But I did put it together, and it was amazing. Each in a little plastic holder, and it was amazing, dude. Just going to tell you. But so no, I completely understand the value of that statement. And I know that other people have a very similar mantra where you put it out to the universe, you write it down 100 times or 1,000 times or whatever, and you make it happen. It's just a way of solidifying a goal for yourself, right?
That's what I used to do.
Yeah. And look at you now.
Got everything I asked for. No, I got everything I asked for.
That's right.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have asked for more. Hot dog.
It's like the guy negotiating. They had a clip on Foxtel on one of those car channels, and you know how you say, I want to sell it for 100, and then the guy goes 50, and you go 70, and he said, he goes, I don't know, 55, right? And he goes, okay. And then just for the minute, he realizes he was the seller and didn't make the money he wanted to. And he goes, I should have gone in higher. And then the guy who just bought it for 55 went, yeah. Yeah, you should have.
Gold.
Oh,
Hard to be an idiot in 5 easy steps. What's up there? What? Oh,
goodness
I'll
me.
tell you.
So with 2 minutes left, the whole 2 minutes. Coming up next is a great show with Jer Bear. Do stay tuned for that. I know it's late, but it may not be late for you in other parts of the world. If you're in Kentucky or say the East Coast of the US, yeah, it's going to be like 4 o'clock in the morning. But hang in there. If you're anywhere else, I think it's 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning in Cali or something. And anywhere else in the world, hey, look, enjoy your Sunday. It's a nice day. We've just been through it. This is coming up to 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. And if you like what you hear and you listen to this on YouTube, do like and subscribe. And I also ask you to share. Share it with someone else. If there's some crazy thing that in there we're talking about or relative to you or it's answering a question of an argument or whatever you happen to have going on in your life, share it with someone else so they can also start tuning in. Anyway, there's the music, Maggie. I can't believe it's so quick. I will catch you next week through Tuesday morning and Thursday morning Eastern in the US for Plato's Cave. Take care. This is David making Shiny Side Out.